Hi everyone, Logan Petlak here, and I'm here to talk to you about fake news.
Okay, fake news, folks, fake news. Fake news.
They've all now appropriated this term, fake news. Fake news is this term.
So last night, President Trump released his fake news awards.
Welcome to the Fake News Awards.
I do think perpetuating fake news when you're a media outlet or one that has not been corroborated or checked is irresponsible.
That's not fake.
Call them fake news.
You are fake news.
So what is fake news? Fake news is basically any sharing of posts, articles, or media that spreads misinformation in some way. But oddly enough, with fake news, it's even become fake news of itself, as it's become kind of a blanket term to include unsubstantiated reports or not necessarily reliable articles. These unsubstantiated reports and unreliable articles typically have some sort of bias affiliated with them, subjective bias. That being said, we all have a wide variety of perspectives, beliefs, worldviews, and opinions about the world. And we want to share what suits our views or things that we're passionate and excited about. But as media consumers, this presents a personal responsibility to critically analyze everything that we're consuming, because we don't want to be ones sharing misinformation to others and kind of furthering the spread of what may not actually be accurate. This is made that much more important when considering that on average, many of us spend upwards of 2 hours a day on social media. And when we combine that with other recent reports that are saying that fake news travels 6 times faster than real news, we need to be cognizant of exactly how much of the stuff we're exposed to in that 2 hours is actually factual. While fake news is a subject recently associated with a lot of mockery,
Fake, definitely fake, loser, fakest loser.
as educators, it really presents a great opportunity for learning for students. Additionally, for myself as a science educator, a little bit of critical consumption and healthy skepticism are two very important things that students need to be aware of when consuming information. But this isn't easy. We might actually be even fighting the biological tendency of our brains. Derek Muller, of the YouTube channel Veritasium, speaks about the idea of cognitive ease.
The things we're exposed to repeatedly feel more true. Now, the way this seems to work is through a mechanism called cognitive ease. Cognitive ease is a measure of how hard your brain is working, from easy, like when you're scrolling through Facebook, to hard, like if you're trying to multiply 14 times 37 in your head. Things that are true generally elicit cognitive ease, like fire is hot, Earth revolves around the sun, dogs have 4 legs, and so on. Not only do these things feel true, they also feel familiar, effortless, and they feel good. All of these are outcomes of cognitive ease. Now, the trouble arises because cognitive ease can be artificially created in other ways. One way is just by repeating the stimulus.
And this functions as like a survival mechanism, as things that aren't perceived as a threat, normally things that we see repeatedly, like a whole bunch of fake news articles, become comforting, and we're actually more likely to perceive them as true because we've seen it more regularly. This presents us with the fact that being a critical consumer takes work and practice for us as individuals. So what can you, I, and the collective we do to become more engaged citizens and critical consumers? And the simplest way is continue to become more and more media literate. This includes consider the source. So what's the site that's actually providing the source out to you? Is it reputable? The author, what are the author's credentials? What's the date that the article got posted? Is it actually somewhat recent? If it's beyond 10 years old, probably a little bit less valid. Check your biases when you're reading the post. So what things are maybe you more inclined to believe given what your beliefs are? Read beyond the post, so do additional research on the topic to see what maybe conflicting ideas or opposing ideas have to say. Are there supporting sources found in the post that can actually further validate what you're reading? Is the post itself a joke? There's no shortage of trolls and internet trolls out there, so be sure to take a look and see if it's actually a legitimate posting. And ask the experts. While I am by no means an expert, I'm sure I could give you at least some tips on how to try to go about promoting and practicing more media literacy yourself. It's important to note that learning is a complex and diverse process, And what occurs in my classroom probably looks very different to what occurs in other educators' classrooms, or to what occurs in your homes as parents, or even in your homes with your friends and interactions with your peers and colleagues. With that being said, here's a couple personal tips and advice that I try to use when I'm teaching or working alongside my students on this specific subject. If it reinforces what you believe, you need to be even more aware of the potential biases and misinformation present in the content. When viewing topics and reading articles, try to consider the topics from multiple perspectives fairly and genuinely to determine more objective information. What is the real message of the article? What is the positive, or what are the actual points that we can take from it that are valuable? Be aware of what you share. Who all is going to see what you share? Is what you're sharing a fact? If it's not, sometimes that's okay. Opinions are entertainment. Both have some validity and can bring happiness to people or help give new ideas to people. But if it's an opinion, is the opinion rooted in fact? Are there claims made in it that aren't substantiated? And does it have the potential to misinform people? And lastly, big thing is that mistakes happen. So respectfully acknowledge yours and other people's mistakes in your interactions online. The irony of this entire post is, did I do enough fact checking myself before sharing this information with you? Am I sharing things that are opinion based? Probably. Yeah. But this presents a great opportunity for you to start exercising those critical consumption skills. And hopefully, if we all start doing it, the more sharing of information is going to be things that are more valid and also more open to multiple perspectives. I'll conclude as well with this nice little visual, which also ironically you should probably also fact check for validity, but it represents typical biases of certain media outlets, which I think serves as a good guideline when considering the perspectives and agendas of what individuals from each of these sites are sharing with us. So if you enjoyed the video and you have any questions about critical consumption or media literacy, feel free to leave a comment below. If you enjoyed it, like it. And if you did enough fact checking and you think some of the ideas covered in this are valid, feel free to give it a share so that other people can become more media literate as well. Thanks for watching.